Welcome back, kiddos. This is lesson 30. We are starting our adjectives unit. Now, of course, I know you're already asking, what is an adjective? Well, an adjective is a word that describes or modifies a noun, which is a person, place, or thing. For example, we might have the cold air. Cold describes air. Or the blue sky. Blue describes sky. The brave explorer. Brave describes explorer. The beautiful clouds, beautiful describes clouds. The highest peak, highest describes peak. Therefore, all these words that are underlined are adjectives. Now, where can you usually find an adjective? Well, as you saw in the examples, usually they come right in front of the noun, such as the Tucks lived in a red house. House is a noun, and red describes house, and you can see that the adjective is right in front of the noun. That being said, there are a few exceptions to the rule, and sometimes you can find an adjective after a linking verb, and we have a sentence like this: the house was messy. Messy is still describing house even though it comes after a verb, but these types of adjectives are called predicate adjectives because they occur in the predicate to describe the subject. All right, now, we have another type of adjective, which is called a proper adjective. And just like a proper noun, these are capitalized adjectives, and they're formed usually from a proper noun. So we might have a word like Oklahoma, and we're going to add an N to it, and we make it a proper adjective, a describing word, and make it Oklahoman. America would become American, Mexico would become Mexican, China would become Chinese. Notice that this ending changes to an ESE. Japan becomes Japanese. Spain becomes Spanish. Ireland becomes Irish. England becomes English. Queen Victoria was a queen in England, and so that time period would be called Victorian. Queen Elizabeth, again, that time period would be called Elizabethan. Shakespeare would be Shakespearean. Now, notice that the most common endings are like an N or an AN, might be ESE or ish. Now what we're going to do is we're going to try to find some adjectives in the sentence. Remember to look for your noun and see if there's anything describing a noun. So George was an orange cat. I see a describing word describing cat, and so that would be orange. And notice that it describes cat because it's right in front of it. I played on the soccer field. There's a word describing what type of field it is. And so that's a soccer field, and it describes the field. Dusty stared out of the open window. There's a word that describes what kind of window, and that is an open window. Now this next sentence is a little different because it says Bones was hungry. Now there is a word describing Bones. The poor little cat was hungry, and so hungry is the word describing it, and it goes back past the linking verb back to the subject. Happy enjoyed some Chinese noodles. There's a word that describes what type of noodles. That's Chinese, and it describes noodles. And then we have the American flag waved in the air. In this case, our noun, our thing, is a flag, and there's a word describing the flag, which is American, and it describes flag. Now, all of these are adjectives, but some of them are special types of adjectives. There was one sentence that had an adjective that came after a linking verb and it linked back to the subject, and that was sentence 4 because that one has a predicate adjective because it happened after a linking verb. We had 2 other sentences here that are capitalized adjectives. They came from proper nouns. Can you find which sentences start with a capital adjective? Okay, number 5 is a proper adjective because it's capitalized. It comes from a proper noun. And number 6, American. Absolutely. All right, well, I hope you understand that an adjective describes a noun. If you can't figure it out, you might ask the question, what kind or how many, to find out if you have an adjective in the sentence. And then predicate adjectives are adjectives that happened after linking verbs and they link back to the subject, just like in sentence 4. And then proper adjectives are adjectives that are capitalized. They're specific words that tie to places, things, or people. All right, well, I hope you learned something this week, and I hope you have a great rest of your week. Bye, guys.